Welcome to the Explainer. So today, we're investigating a really fascinating historical and geological mystery. Usually, when we dig into ancient texts about the end of times, we're looking forward, right? We're trying to predict the future. But today, we're doing something a little different. We're examining a prophetic sign discussed not in the future tense, but firmly in the past. Now, you might be thinking most eschatological signs, those big world-shifting events pointing to the final days, are just waiting for us somewhere down the line. But today we are focusing on a monumental event that has actually already occurred. It's like a giant puzzle piece that history has already locked into place. And the crazy part is, it's backed by some truly astonishing modern science.
Okay, let's just dive right into the prophecy itself. Originating way back in the 7th century and preserved in the classic Islamic compilation Sahih Bukhari, the Prophet Muhammad stated, "The hour will not come until a fire emerges from the land of the Hijaz that will illuminate the necks of the camels in Busra." It's an incredibly specific statement, right? So let's break down the actual geographical parameters this establishes. To really grasp the scale of this claim, we first have to define the Hijaz. When most people hear Arabia, they just picture flat, endless, sandy deserts. But the Hijaz is actually the mountainous western region of the Arabian Peninsula. It encompasses major cities like Mecca and Medina, and geologically, well, it's hiding a pretty serious fiery secret right beneath its surface. It sits on highly active volcanic formations. And that brings us to this really crucial concept, the Harat. These are vast fields of relatively recent volcanic activity and lava flows located right on the ancient Arabian Shield. So the Hijaz isn't just a rugged mountain range, it is a network of massive, active volcanic fields resting directly beneath the Arabian Peninsula. Now I want you to just think about this staggering number for a second. 1,400. That is the vast distance in kilometers between Medina and the Hijaz and Busra, way up in southern Syria. So for a fire originating in the Hijaz to be bright enough to literally illuminate the necks of camels all the way in Busra, this had to be of massive, earth-shattering volcanic proportions. We're talking about a glow visible from 1,400 kilometers away. So let's fast forward a bit through history, from the 7th century up to the Islamic year 654, which is 1256 CE. The Muslim world was already reeling from the Mongol sack of Baghdad just a few years prior. And then, completely out of nowhere, an astonishing event occurred just southeast of Medina. Just try to wrap your mind around the sheer scale of this. From the Herat Rahat volcanic field, a massive eruption began that lasted for 52 continuous days. Literal rivers of lava flowed directly toward Medina, threatening the Prophet's mosque. Historical chronicles actually tell us the residents gathered together to pray, and the lava stopped just short of the city limits. But the eruption produced a fire and a light so intense that those same chronicles recorded it illuminating the night sky for absolute miles. And the greatest Islamic scholars of that era, they were all over this. They didn't just record it as some random natural disaster. Giants of post-classical Islamic scholarship like Ibn Kathir, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, and Imam al-Nawawi unanimously declared it the fulfillment of that exact 7th century prophecy. They had direct access to eyewitness accounts of how far that light reached, and they confidently connected the 1256 eruption straight back to the original text. All right, so let's move into the modern geological evidence. Modern data from the Saudi Geological Survey and NASA absolutely confirms that the Herat Rahat field is a giant. It's 20,000 square kilometers in size, containing over 900 documented volcanic vents. And here's the kicker, it's geologically young. Geologists today can quite literally walk on the fresh, black lava rock from that exact 1256 CE eruption. And crucially, they classify this field as potentially active, confirming there's a massive volcanic zone precisely where the classical text said there would be. And this recent sequence of events is really telling. After that major 1256 CE eruption, you might think the area just went quiet, but fast forward to 2009 CE and a massive earthquake swarm near Al-Ula caused the emergency evacuation of 40,000 people, all due to magma movement underground. And even as recently as 2020, continued seismic events were recorded in the broader Hijaz. The geological infrastructure for this sign is still incredibly active today. So what does this all mean for us? Well, the crucial point is how scholars interpret all this geological and historical data today. They actually split, quite objectively, into two respectful camps. The majority view considers the sign entirely fulfilled by the 1256 eruption. For them, it's firmly in the past. but the minority view notes that historical texts don't explicitly document the light reaching exactly Busra. Because of that, they suggest 1256 was a partial fulfillment, and an even larger future eruption is still coming to unambiguously cross that massive 1,400-kilometer threshold.
Let's zoom out a bit and look at the broader prophetic timeline. You see, the historical record demonstrates this fascinating concept of accumulation. The fire in the Hijaz isn't just an isolated event floating in a vacuum. It sits perfectly alongside other historical events accurately predicted in the 7th century. The death of the Prophet Muhammad in 632 CE, the conquest of Jerusalem in 638 CE, the Great Plague of Almawaz that very same year, and of course the 1256 volcanic eruption. Together, they serve as a proof of concept, showing how these accurately predicted historical events slowly build out the overarching prophetic sequence.
Ultimately, these accurately fulfilled past signs are viewed as way more than just historical trivia. They are profound evidence. It's really a renewed invitation to examine the text for yourself. The sheer specificity of it, naming the Hijaz, naming the distant city of Busra, describing a massive fire centuries before modern geology even mapped the Arabian Shield, it strongly suggests precise knowledge regarding both future geological and historical events. And as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final lingering question to just kind of chew on. If the minor signs are fulfilling with this level of historical and geological precision, what does that tell us about the major signs? If the past was documented so accurately in these ancient texts, how should we view the massive events that are still to come? Really think about that as you process everything we've covered today.